Hello, how are you? How are you all doing? This is video number 2 on the topic of the equation of a line in its point-slope form. Today we're going to solve exercise number 3. Let's get started. In the previous video, I already solved exercises 1 and 2, which are easier than the one I'm going to solve next. So if you haven't seen that other video yet, please go watch it first so you can follow along in order. All right, let's start with this exercise that says, find the slope and the equation of the line that passes through the points A, 6, 4, and B, -9, -1. The equation of the line we're going to find is the point-slope form, but while we're at it, we'll also find the equation of the line in its slope-intercept form. In other words, we're going to find it in both of those forms. All right, let's start by finding the slope first. Don't forget that in previous videos, I already told you that the slope is calculated as follows. We're going to put y2 minus y1, and this will be divided by x, 2 minus x1. This is the little formula we're going to use to find the slope. So we just have to substitute. Let's see, what are y2? y1, x2, and x1? Well, we're going to get that directly from the coordinates they're giving me. If we say this is point number 1, then this will be x1 and this will be y1. If this is point number 2, then this will be x2 and this will be y2. So let's just substitute. I'll put it down here, okay? So I'm not in the way. Well, actually, I'll put it right here instead. All right, so I have that. The slope is equal to, it says y2. What is y2? Let's see, where is it? Over here. It's -1. Then it's minus y1, who is y1, it's 4. So let's put a 4 over here. Done. Look, I'm putting y2, which was -1 minus from the formula, and then y1, which is 4. Okay? Let me fix that line. Well, that's better. Then it's over x2, which is -9, we put it. Then it's minus from the formula, x1, which is 6, we put it. Done. Well, now we just have to do the operations both in the numerator and in the denominator. All right, let's calculate what I get in the numerator. -1 minus 4 gives me a total of -5. Let's go with the denominator. -9 minus 6 gives me -15. Now, this fraction can be simplified, right? And we can also see that we have minus divided by minus, and minus divided by minus is plus. So actually, the slope will be positive. Now this 5 and this 15 are both divisible by 5. Therefore, I have minus divided by minus, which is plus. Then 5 divided by 5 gives me 1 over 1/5 divided by 5 gives me 3. So the slope will be 1/3. Done. We have this now. They were asking us to find the slope. That's it. Once we have found the slope, we are ready to find the equation of the line in its point-slope form. The structure, which I also showed you in the previous video, is the following. Anyway, I'll put it here for you, okay? It's y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. This is the structure that we have. So, we're just going to substitute. Look, in this case, since they're asking me for x1, y1, I could use these values I have here. I mean 6 for x1 and 4 for y1. That is, I could take point A. But honestly, I could also take point B. And the two equations we get will both be correct. I'm going to write both equations so you can see that both of them work perfectly fine anyway. All right, so first I'm going to take point A. What did we say? Its coordinates are 6, 4. All right, so let's just substitute then. I get y. Minus y1, so we write minus y1, which in this case is 4, that's equal to m, which we already calculated was 1/3. So let's write it down. We open parentheses, and then it's x minus x x1. So we write x minus x x1, which in this case will be 6 done. This one right here is already the equation of the line in its point-slope form. When we are taking point A, And, as I was saying, this is fine. It's done. We're already done in this case, but if we take this point, we're also going to do it correctly. So let's go ahead and put here, I take point B, and in this case, point B is -9, -1. We do exactly the same thing. We're going to substitute, but be careful here, because we're going to have a negative from the formula and also a negative from each of these numbers. So I'll have y, then comes minus y1, but y1 is -1. So I would have y minus 1, but y minus 1 is the same as y plus 1. We agree because we have a minus from the formula, but y1 is -1. So I end up with y minus 1. That's why I get y plus 1, okay. All right, let's continue. Next is the slope, which we said was right here, 1/3. We open parentheses, and here we have x minus x1. So we write x minus x1, but x1 is equal to -9. It's like this. Look, -9. But instead of writing all that, we already know that -9 actually becomes +9. So now we're just going to write it as +9. At this point, you already know the formula, right? So, what do we have to do? The formula, right? Let's go to the formula. Let's use the formula, right? The formula, right? Let's write the formula minus the slope. The slope. So, this one right here is also correct. I mean, if you ask yourselves which one is correct, both are correct. And parentheses. Well, the truth is, if you ask yourselves which one you should use, honestly, it doesn't matter. Both are representing exactly the same thing. Both go through these 2 points. So, x minus 3 here, we have, well, parentheses. So, let's put a parenthesis. And that's it. We don't need to do it again. Let's transform them into the equation of the line in slope-intercept form, both of them. And it has to give us exactly the same result. And that way, we'll be validating that what we did was correct. So, let me erase all of this. And I'm just going to leave the 2 equations I arrived at. Now, if what you wanted was to find the equation of the line in its point-slope form, we're done now. We have 2 options. Both are correct. But I'm going to go a little further so we can check that what we did was correct. Look, to convert from the point-slope form equation to the slope-intercept form, we just have to solve for y and expand these parentheses. So, let's do this. For now, let me leave just the y minus 4 on the left side and nothing else. I'm going to multiply, okay? 1/3 by x, which still gives me 1/3 of x. Then here, 1/3 times minus 6. For minus 6, well, I get 1 times minus 6, that's minus 6, divided by 3, I get minus 2. Right. Now this minus 4, since it's being subtracted, we're going to move it to the other side as addition, so we end up with the following. Sorry. And that's equal. We write 1/3 of x. Then we have minus 2. And this minus 4. We write it as plus 4, so it ends up like this. I'll just write it out right away. Like this. Plus 4 and minus 2. Okay? It's the same. See, this minus 4 I changed to plus 4. And this minus 2, I just left it there. All right, let's continue here. So I end up with y equals 1/3 of x. We write that. And then over here we have plus 4 minus 2, which is equal to plus 2. All right, this right here is good. This right here is already the equation of the line in its slope-intercept form. Look, we're transforming it from here to here. Now we're going to do exactly the same thing, and we have to end up right here. Okay, let's see if that's true. So first, as we agreed, let's leave the y plus 1 on the left side and on the right side. We're going to multiply 1/3 by x, so I get the same, 1/3 of x. Then here, we have 1/3 times 9. It would be 1 times 9, that's 9, and then divided by 3, I get 3 done. Now let's solve for y. We have that y is equal to 1/3 of x plus 3. And this plus 1, we're going to move to the other side as a minus 1. Finally, we have that y is equal to 1/3 of x. And here we have plus 3 minus 1. Plus 3 minus 1 is equal to plus 2. As you can see, we're arriving at exactly the same equation. What I just did helps us validate that these two were indeed correct, right? So what we did was correct. Another thing you can do to check whether what you did was correct is to use a scientific calculator. Look, I'm going to use this Casio one, which is the FX991CW model. We're going to press here where it says home, and then here where it says table. Now we're going to enter the function. In this case, I have an equation y, but in the end, it's the same thing. So come on, let's enter one of these two, but it's exactly the same, right? So come on, let's enter this one. We press here where it says function, and then go down to where it says define f of x. We press OK, and now we're going to enter the right side of the equation. We press this little button here, and we're going to put 1/3. We move to the right and enter the x, then add 2, and then we press execute. At this point, we've already saved our equation. Now I'm going to give it the values of x, which in this case are 6 and -9. And it should give us the values of y here, in this little table that's shown. So let's go. When we put in a 6, it should give us a 4. Let's see if that's true. I put in a 6 and hit run, and I want you to see that indeed a 4 appears. So this means that the coordinate equation, well, if it's 6, 6, 4, this implies that this line, indeed, passes through 6, 6, 4. So we're doing well. Now let's put in -9. It should give me a -1, right? So we enter shift -9 and hit execute, and you see that it is giving me a -1. Therefore, what we did was correct, and that's it. This way, we are also confirming that what we did was correct. All right. Now I'm going to leave you the next exercise as homework, and in the next video, I will solve it as well. That way, we can check if we did it right or not. Look, this is the exercise you have to solve. Basically, it says the same thing. I've just changed it a bit. Here are the points. Here we have point P, whose coordinates are -1, -2. And over here, we have point Q, which is at -8, 3. Please solve it, and when you have the answer, leave it for me down here in the comments. All right, well, I'll see you next time. Take care, and please do your homework and behave until next time. Bye-bye.